Welcome back to another episode of the Photographer's Journey podcast. This is the 10th episode. I'm honestly surprised we've made it this far, but thanks for listening, guys. And I'm Miles Massey, a local photographer in the Tampa Bay area. On this podcast, I meet with local photographers in the Florida area at their favorite photo locations to get the background of how they started, how they got their first camera, basically the story behind the Instagram handle that you probably have come to know. Today, I am at the Hillsborough River. Today I'm at the Hillsborough River State Park, and my guest today is an adventure seeker with a camera. From mountain biking to scuba diving, he's captured it all. Kevin is his name, and adventure is his game. He has an intense addiction to drones and everything Florida. If you follow along with him, you can't go wrong. You probably know him as Kevin Giese. Did I say that right? Giese?
Yeah, that's close enough.
Okay, close enough. You probably know him as Kevin Giese, and he likes to ask the important questions like, do you even know how to Florida? So, welcome to the podcast, Kevin. Thanks for holding the camera. I know, reset it over here. Well, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for actually coming out. I know we've tried to make this happen for probably 2 years now?
Well over a year, probably closer to 2 years.
Yeah, I think we were supposed to do it on the day of the mountain bikes.
It never happened.
But, yeah, we were kind of too exhausted after that surprise trail. Which, if you haven't seen, if you're watching the video version, click up here to see that. We did like a mountain bike vlog where not everything went right. Or check the notes below for that. But so I did a deep dive on your Instagram.
Uh-oh.
It's cool to see where you started to like the photos you're taking now. You started with boats and you kind of wanted to make photography a job.
I thought about it. The idea was there. There was the opportunity to help somebody who had a broker's license to sell larger yachts, and he needed a photographer, and drones are huge when it comes to selling mega yachts or larger yachts because you can actually get a full view of it. And
I can imagine, yeah.
And it's a whole thing where they want the boat running, they want it out in the water, they want unique shots to help sell it because it's good shots is what makes the sale.
Yeah.
So I was just getting into it. I was doing a little bit here and there with him, and he was doing great. We got a few ads together, and then he ended up moving out of the area, so my little niche kind of disappeared. But it was fun for a little bit. That's all it was. It wasn't. I wasn't trying to make a whole career out of it, but it was just a fun little side hustle.
Side money.
Yeah. You know, I mean, everybody else usually gets into real estate when they do photography. It's an easy in.
That's kind of how you.
But again, the real estate market's flooded with photographers.
Yeah.
The brokerage market for yachts, not so much. So I thought maybe just play around, see what it was about.
That makes sense,
Yeah.
I guess. That's a pretty unique start. Not a lot of people get to say.
It was fun
I've
because
been on yachts.
Yeah, it was fun because you get to see 80-foot yachts that are multi-million dollars, and you get to see the inside, and you get to see how the top 1% live, and how, interesting.
So that's pretty cool so that would be like your first client then.
Kinda, yeah. It was just a buddy. It wasn't really a super professional relationship. It was just helping him. He's helping me, shaking hands. It was fun.
That's cool because
it's a fun little venture.
Yeah, most people don't get to start with that. Have you gone to like clients that are not the top 1%? I don't know a nice way to say that. They're I can't pay you today. I gotta wait till tomorrow.
No, I never had to run into that, thankfully.
Okay.
Usually the lesser size boats can sell on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, or it's the larger ones that need a special treatment. I don't know, to advertise to the certain clientele. I mean,
it makes sense. I took
those clients aren't searching Facebook Marketplace for their next purchase.
You're telling me you can't buy yachts on Facebook?
I mean,
wow. Darn. All right, well, maybe I'm not looking in the right place. Yeah, well, I know what you mean because I took a picture. They're disguised. I know it's a pilot. They're trying to sell planes. And, they're just casually, we're selling it for $600,000. And like, okay, can you come out and take pictures of it? Yeah, so that was my taste of the bigger clientele. But so with that, so that was like your side hustle. Did you continue to try and go into a different area of photography for the business side, or?
No, I kind of lost interest in taking something that I love and transforming it into a moneymaker. I mean, I know a lot of people see that as a dream. They want to make money at doing something they love. and that's great. I have nothing against that. I mean, I'm not gonna knock anybody who can do that or does do that, but at the same time, being able to go to work and do your job and be proud of what you do for a living and have that as its own thing, but then still having the weekend to go out and shoot and have photography as a hobby is huge to me, because I see so many people who might do it full time and then they get burnt out of the fun side of it and they don't actually go out and shoot for fun anymore. They're working weddings on the weekends, they're working photo shoots on Friday nights, and then all week long they're doing editing and they have no time for themselves. And again, I'm not knocking it. It's just personally, I like having that outlet to where I come out here and hang out with no intention, no plans, just kind of soaking it up, enjoying it. So
That makes a lot of sense, because I fell into the same boat there. Well, with like this YouTube stuff, and I work full time at a production studio, so
right.
if it's a crazy edit week, the last thing I want to do is go home and edit.
Right.
I'd rather go out and shoot and then worry about that edit a month later.
I feel like that's how it is across all professions. You're a chef, you don't want to go home all the time and prepare a really nice meal. You're a mechanic, you don't want to go home and tinker with an old classic car for hours on end.
Right, so you did that for 8-10 hours.
Yeah, so I just got worried about it and just kind of set it to the side. I mean, if an opportunity were to come up and I could possibly do something more wildlife geared or traveling photography, maybe I would potentially consider it. I'm not going to say no, but right now I'm happy where I am and happy with the way life is. And
That's good. So what do you do for your day job? I don't think we've actually ever covered this out off camera.
it's complicated. Really, my title would be operations manager. A small auto body repair, auto body collision center.
Okay.
Up in Hernando. He's got multiple locations, and I just kind of help oversee all 3 locations and go between covering the day-to-day stuff of making sure everybody can do their job, in a sense.
Yeah.
There's other people in place that control the day-to-day, like
there's
the
a
jobs.
Manager at each one, but you oversee.
I don't oversee them, but I just oversee making sure that everybody can facilitate the work. Okay. You know what I mean? A little bit of everything. A little bit of IT, a little bit of maintenance, a little bit of troubleshooting, a little bit of customer service.
That sounds like a great way to keep you distant from the photography, because they're not saying, "Can you take pictures?"
I mean, it's come up. There's been, hey, help with the website, help with the photos, help with the drone shoot.
Yeah, but I'm sure that's kind of fun for you. Yeah.
Take a little break during the day.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
go
knock
fly
it.
your drone. Yeah, why not? Well, that being said, I'm known for my horrible transitions here.
Transition.
Going back to the boats. Yes, insert transition here. You did after the boat photos, you kind of moved into scuba diving photos underwater. Is that something you've always been interested in, or is that a more recent thing, or did that come up with photography? Because you're very adventurous. You're always in the woods or on a river or something.
Well, the scuba diving thing, I don't know. I got certified probably about 6 or 7 years ago, and it was big in the beginning because I had a few friends that we were able to go out all the time. And scuba diving is, you got to have a buddy. You got to have somebody with you. You got to at least have a pair, just in case something does go wrong.
Makes sense.
So in the beginning, I was doing it quite a bit, but I didn't have gear capable of keeping up really. I had a GoPro. That was great for a while.
So all those photos were from the GoPro?
Depends on which ones. Where are we talking about?
There was a lot of fish ones, or you occasionally took selfie ones.
Yeah, it was GoPro.
Okay, wow, that actually
back in 2012, 2015-ish, somewhere in there.
I was looking at that on the computer too, and those actually looked really good. I did not expect that from a GoPro.
GoPro's got it down a little bit. I mean, but then it kind of faded off because everybody kind of moved away. Friends started separating. Friends started kind of going to different parts of the country. Okay. So the diving thing didn't pick back up again until recently, until I started exploring free diving, which again, you shouldn't do it on your own, but to a point.
That's right. You did mention caverns.
Caverns. Cave certification.
Underwater caverns was something you want to do.
I've been working on that. Yeah.
because the other adventures weren't enough for you.
No, I gotta see more. I need more.
Wow. So what is that like? You just, because the caverns are pretty small. Keep in mind, my knowledge is based off movies that like 48 meters down or whatever it was, where they all get stuck. So I don't have the best outlook on it.
Yeah.
So what is it like when you're actually under there? Are you able to get in with the tank on your back, or is it more like snorkeling down there?
I've I've gone into a couple different caves, but it's been really they're caverns because there's still access to the light source. There's still you can still see out into the open. Whereas when you can start getting more technical caves, that's restrictions and actually opening up into halls and rooms, which could be the size of a school bus or a Volkswagen Beetle. I mean, it's a huge range, but I've only had overhead obstruction. I've never actually gone deep into a cave.
Okay.
I'm not there yet.
Still training. Yes.
It's a long process, and it's a lot of training, and it's just a lot.
Yeah. Is that pretty different from like the snorkeling you do in the springs?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, well, I'm still snorkeling in the springs, and the caves are in the springs. They're all tied together. It's all part of the aquifer system. Snorkeling is the safe, easy way.
Yeah.
Or even free diving, like close by. It's still on the safe side, versus entering the caverns.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, so it's not as bad as the movies make it out to me. Well, with the snorkeling stuff, you do.
And Hinga.
But you do like a lot of trips. What's your favorite place you've been to? Because you mainly do Florida, right? Or your Instagram is Florida.
Yeah.
But you said you've been to other places. You just don't post those photos.
I don't know. I just have a hard time with posting everywhere, posting from everywhere. I mean, like I spent a week in California just a few months ago, and I think I posted 3 photos from the whole trip.
So what makes you want to keep your feed like Florida based?
I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's just the way I've done it. I like the uniqueness of the state. I have plenty of good content from California trip or from when I was over in Ireland, from when I've done international trips, even some of the island trips I've done in the Bahamas and Virgin Islands. I don't know. I don't post from there. I always come back to the Florida feed.
It's interesting, but I mean, you still have the photos, so.
Yeah.
It's memories for you. It's not.
Yeah.
I guess that's cool because you don't feel the need to be like, hey, world, look where I went. you kind of keep your Instagram private like that, I guess.
Yeah. I do post quite a bit of where I am and what I'm doing, but I try not to.
Yeah, well, I guess you kind of go into, you do more stories, sort of, when you.
Yeah.
Which, do you because you kind of click through them and you actually make a story out of your stories. I guess that's intentional, right?
Yeah. I always see everybody just kind of throws up random photos, and that's fine. You do your thing, but I seem to get a lot of interaction when it's a storyline, and there's a little bit of a journey, because people like a journey, people like a story, people like a movie, and it's like a very short little spiel.
Like I started here,
Yeah.
And you do use cool little descriptions of.
Yeah.
What the bird was or the fish or whatever. So it is a unique way to go about it. Is there a lot of planning that goes into that, or do you kind of sit there on Sunday and set up what?
No, that's one of the issues. See, I mean, almost every weekend I'm out doing something, but I don't always post a story in the following week, and I don't know if it's just the creative hour that I have, and all of a sudden I'm feeling it, and the juices are flowing, and then I just throw it up there. But sometimes I'm just not feeling it. Sometimes I'm not really feeling like I can create a story, and then I just don't do it, and then the next week goes by, and then all of a sudden I have a whole nother week of content. So
that happens. I haven't posted since December. I threw together one last video, and now it's been 4 weeks. So we're finally out here shooting something.
Finally, yes.
We went so off track from whatever I started to ask.
We've gone quite a ways.
Yeah. I was originally asking about your trips. How do you figure out where to go? Because when I had to go to Boca to do a video shoot and stuff, but I try and look up photo locations to places that I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so hard because, they'll pop up photographers from the area or, your most common touristy areas. How do you find these, like, locations that are potentially off-grid or not really well known on or shared on Google?
I think that's just kind of part of, I don't know how to phrase this.
Or
I'm
you
very
just-
I'm very research oriented.
Okay.
I always have been. All through college, it's been. I've always enjoyed doing a little bit of research, a little bit of digging. I've got no problem reading articles and digging through stuff. So when I see something and it strikes an interest, I end up going down these huge rabbit trails of like reverse Google image searching and going through numerous Instagram feeds and trying to piece together where this is at and then comparing it to other data and then
Interesting. So
it's
you're going to Instagram and like looking at the geotag and
yeah, not well, a lot of people don't geotag, and even me, I don't.
or you'll
personally.
take the image and put it in Google to see.
Yeah, a little bit because some places are hard to find and they're hard to figure out, but there are databases out there that do have the information you need. But I've been accumulating this for years. I mean, my Google Maps, it's hard to look at because most people have little pins here and there, and it's like, if you look at mine, you can hardly see the state. It's just pins on pins on pins on pins.
Yeah, mine's like I was in California for a week. I had a layover in this airport, and then the Georgia trip is like 5 dots.
Yes.
So I can imagine yours looks like that conspiracy board meme.
Yes.
It's
You can
like-
draw lines between everybody. Everything's all connected.
Trying to explain where I went for the weekend.
You don't want to know.
Yeah. Let me check the time on this real
Okay.
quick. With your trips, transition. With your trips, you do a lot of car camping, but you do it the right way. If the viewers don't know, I did a road trip and tried to go car camping for the first day. You can click in the description or up there to see how horribly that went. So, I don't know, kind of explain how you got into that, or how did you get into that, and how do you properly car camp? The right car makes a difference too.
Yeah, the right car helps, but I mean, I had a hatch for years, so I mean, you're on the right track.
Yeah, but you do the like rooftop thing, right?
Yeah,
I don't know what the name of that is. It's
Rooftop tents,
rooftop
RTTs.
tents.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was in the past year that I got into that. Maybe a year and a half that I finally picked one up. I mean, I've been a campaholic for at least 3 or 4 years.
So before the rooftop tent, you were just like
Just
tent on the ground?
Yeah, ground
Okay.
tent camping. I never actually tried to camp out of the car. Just
I
camp.
don't recommend it.
It's tough, especially when you have gear. It's like usually you want to keep your gear inside, keep it dry, keep it safe, keep it from the raccoons, because the raccoons are notorious for stealing everything.
It's true. Yeah.
So camping in the car gets a little bit tough. It's a little bit strapped for space.
Yeah.
So the ground tent camping has been great, but like on a day like today where it monsooned for the first 3 hours of the day would have not been fun.
Yeah, it was like lightning this
Yeah.
morning, and we got tornado alerts on the phone. Like, is this podcast going to happen?
We had hail warnings.
Yes.
And we were planning on camping last night. I'm glad I didn't because it would have made for just a very slow, wet morning.
Yeah, that does not sound fun.
No.
Especially if you don't have like shoe dryer or something.
But yeah, so I did ground tent camping for the longest time, and it's been great. But then I just started feeling like there's got to be an easier way, and not going to the realm of a tow behind RV unit, but still camping.
Right.
And I just kind of found the little niche of RTTs.
So how does it work? Because from the outside, it looks like it could be uncomfortable, but I guess it's like a flat surface.
Yeah, no. So it opens up like a book. Like it's up there on top of the car. It's flat. It's very, very compact, and then it opens up like a book, and it locks just like the spine would. So you have a very flat surface, and then
Sorry, is the idea just like there's enough surface area coverage that it's not going to like dent in your roof?
So the roof racks are doing all the work.
Okay.
You gotta have a car with decent rails that go along the edge to support the weight, and then having a good quality set of roof racks to go across is important.
Okay.
And then underneath the tent is just a maybe a ½ inch or so of aluminum, insulated aluminum, to help kind of keep it nice and flat. And then everything else just kind of opens up, unfurls, extend the poles, push it out, and boom, you got a tent.
Wow.
And it's off the ground, no
and
mud.
the setup seems like it's pretty quick, right?
Yeah.
So you could just pack down and then go.
5 minutes.
Wow.
5 minutes. Yeah.
That's
Little
pretty
little
cool.
ladder to go up and down.
Yeah.
Which is great because sometimes I don't always camp at campgrounds. Sometimes I'll literally pull over on the side of the road in the swamp, somewhere way off the beaten path, and set
I'm
up
sure
there.
your mom enjoys hearing about those
Yeah,
stories.
she loves it. The bears and the bobcats and the
Yeah.
panthers. But sometimes that might not be, it might be frowned upon. And if I wake up with somebody who's angry because I'm technically on their property or somewhere I'm not supposed to be, I can at least get out quick.
Has that happened?
No, it hasn't,
Okay.
thankfully. I've
I
always
wasn't
been
sure if that
curious.
was coming from a real story.
I was always curious if it was ever going to happen, but no, it has not happened.
It's just some guy with a shotgun, like, what are you doing
You doing, boy?
on my property?
Get off my land.
Have you had to fight off bobcats?
No,
Oh.
no critters yet. Just the raccoons. They stole my lunchbox one night.
Wow.
Yeah, but
What bastards.
I'm telling you.
Oh, man. Well, so when you do that, like, I'm curious, what I found when attempting camping was, so I got to borrow that tent that you
Yeah.
open the trunk
Yeah.
and it keeps like fresh air coming in, but you don't get all the bugs.
Yeah.
Minus the fact I had no space. It's kind of like once you have it set up, it's also pouring rain, keep in mind that.
Right.
It's just kind of like, okay, what do I do now? I have like 10 hours to kill. At least where I went, I walked around with the camera, that camp area, but it was like a mile long, mile and a half long.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that much to see.
Yeah.
And then I tried the stovetop cooking. That wasn't the best. um, I went straight from the city to trying to camp. It was not a great transition. But so what do you do with your free time? You have your camp set up. You can't really drive your car anywhere unless you want to like when you have your whole setup set up, what do you do for like the remaining 8 hours?
So, I usually don't do it that way.
Okay.
So it's
You
more
just-
of a utility, just a place to sleep.
Okay, so you just kind of when you're ready, you just pull up somewhere and then you
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
I'm
spend
seeing.
the whole day kayaking or hiking or doing whatever, and then when the sun's starting to go down, I'll go set up, stay for the night, maybe by sunrise, maybe hang out in the morning for a little bit because the steam fog's rising off the spring, or there's some action with the wildlife somewhere, and then be gone by 9-10 o'clock. So I know a lot of people, they set up for the weekend and they'll just go and they'll camp and they'll stay in that one spot all weekend, but if I'm camping, rarely do I stay at one campground all weekend. I'll go between 2 or 3.
And then, well, these remote locations you go, you got some really good, like, Astro Photography, I
Yeah,
guess you would
yeah,
call it.
yeah.
Like, do you just set up, you just do, like, the main picture. Have you done time lapses? I haven't seen any.
No, I haven't really done any time lapses, no.
Okay.
Love to, but
Yeah. So I was like, I always wondered if you just set your camera out and fear that it was going to rain, but I guess, I guess where you are, there's probably no light pollution.
no,
right?
it's usually I try to find the spots that are off the, way off the map.
Okay.
I don't know
That
what it's
makes-
technically called. I always forget, but
Off grid or?
well, like when you look at the light pollution map, it's got like reds and yellows and greens, and then it starts getting to the grays and the blacks. I'm always finding a spot in the
You
grays
just,
and the
You
blacks.
just go in the black and
Yeah,
then you're like,
yeah.
well, if something eats me, it eats me. Do you at least have like a BB gun for when?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Of course, they definitely carry.
Okay.
Most times, when I'm hiking solo, and then not so much when I'm paddling, but when I'm camping, definitely.
Okay. That's
I hope that I don't have to. I mean, if a panther comes up, I'd rather shoot some photos of it than kill it.
yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean, if you don't look at it,
don't make eye contact.
Yeah. Just stay still. Don't move.
No.
I mean, you're on your roof. You can't jump that high. I
Yeah,
hope
yeah.
not.
No, when I'm up there, it's fine.
And then, like, on all these trips, I mean, you said, I think in your bio, like, you're a drone addict. So you have, I mean, what do you have, the Mavic Mini 2, right?
Yeah. Oh
or-
Mavic Pro Platinum.
Platinum. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, You know how in school people get, like, with math, they're like, I'm never going to need this? Well, you apparently use math to find your drone.
Oh gosh.
Can you explain that process? Because, I mean, I read it on Instagram, but it was just crazy that you said after a week you were able to calculate where the drone was.
Oh, that was a whole
through
disaster.
math.
That was a whole disaster. Beautiful morning. Started out in the Wikiwachi. Launched the drone. 5 minutes into the flight, it threw a propeller.
It threw a propeller? It just flew off?
You're supposed to change them regardless, like after so many hours, and I didn't. And the bearings must have just given out and just threw the propeller off.
Oh, wow.
So it separated, and then it just kind of went off into the distance, into the unknown, and crashed.
Wikiwachi's a big area, too.
Yeah, it was a huge wildlife management area. But I lost, as it was spinning uncontrollably, it lost all communication. And, you know, the drones have the Find My Drone part
Right,
of the
but
app.
it has to be turned on, right?
But it has to maintain communication until it actually ends up where it's going to end up.
Yeah.
But I lost it
Which,
very close to where I was at.
Which, like, if people don't fly drones, you have, what, 20 minutes of battery probably by that point?
If it's sitting on its own, you have probably a couple of hours. If it's just sitting there, we're just powered on, not doing anything.
I didn't know that lasts that long.
It'll last a little while if it's not flying. So you do have time, but in this specific instance, I lost communication very close to where I was, but then it flew for quite a ways before it ended up crashing. And that night I went out and searched for it, couldn't find it, had no idea. Went back after work a couple times during the week, couldn't find it. And then I had literally just one last opportunity because it was the time change that weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And so any after work explorations would have been in the dark. So I took to the algorithms and started doing some math, and I had some data of the speed it was traveling as it was leaving, and then I could see the arc that it was making. So assuming it was just spinning and creating this perfect arc and it would continue on, I just did the math to figure out the speed and how far it would go over a certain amount of time, and then traced the arc.
Keep going, sorry.
I traced the arc as long as I could, and then just kind of overlaid it to Google Maps on the satellite image, and then set out into the swamp. And all I did was literally just watch my little pin on GPS on Google Maps, and watch as I overlaid the thing I traced out, and then ended up at this giant cypress tree.
So you literally did, like, the triangle math problem.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
had it mapped out.
So let that be a lesson to everyone. Math is important sometimes.
Pythagorean theorem matters.
And
it does.
On top of that, you broke, like, the gimbal broke on your drone once, right, or something?
Yeah.
And then, because I told you I was having issues with mine, you're like, why don't you just fix it? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, it's not that hard, you just have to solder some things. So on top of doing math, you can also fix your own drones.
Yeah.
Did you just YouTube that, or do you have that knowledge already?
I somehow over time accumulated that knowledge. I don't know. I don't even know when or where or how. But I mean,
it's just random genius.
Everything is easy. That's the way I go about life. Like, everything is easy.
I like that motto.
It is. It's nothing is. I mean, everything is complicated, but once you figure it out, it's easy.
That's true.
I mean, photography, I couldn't understand exposure and ISO and aperture. I couldn't figure out these numbers for years. And then I'm like, well, let me just actually figure this out. And it's like, oh, this is easy. It's just...
Yeah, that's...
Once you get used to the skill.
I guess that's true, because I'm like, I just know what numbers to put things to. I can never tell you, this is why I'm doing it. I've just done it for so long.
Yeah.
Well, I've done video longer, but...
Yeah.
Same difference. That's right. This podcast is about photography.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Well, so are you from here originally? Sorry, transition.
Transition.
Are you from here originally?
Well, I was born in New York, and
Okay.
we lived there for a couple of years, and then my family came down here when I was like 2 or 3.
Okay.
So I've been around the Tampa area for pretty much my whole life.
Okay, so what got you into photography originally then? Like, did your parents have a camera growing up? Did you just get a camera for Christmas?
A little bit of everything. My mom had a camera when I was younger. Um, she exposed me a little bit to it. And then I just ended up buying a camera in high school and tried to figure out the numbers and try to figure out what all that meant.
Yeah.
And couldn't. And then tried it again in college.
The camera you got was like you wanted to do photography specifically?
No, I just bought like a Canon. It was a T2 at the time.
T2i, yeah, I think.
T2i.
T4i was my first camera too, so similar enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tried the T2 for a little bit, and then I figured, well, let me get the T6i, and tried that because maybe I figured something a little better would maybe get me into it.
Yeah.
But really.
Well, that's not always true, is it?
No,
Better camera doesn't always mean it's going.
It does not.
You can still take out of focus photos even if your camera's better.
You can buy the Sony Alpha,
Yeah.
the Alpha 1, and still take lousy photos.
Yes.
But where was it going?
Your camera T6i.
Yeah.
High
So
school.
I played with it, but really Instagram was kind of like what got me into it, like the interactions that kind of came about.
The community.
The community, yeah, the community aspect is what got me.
Do you feel like that's still there, the community aspect? Keep in mind, I've also really been off of Instagram for a month, just not really posting or interacting.
Yeah.
But you post a lot, so what's your opinion on the community? Is it still there with like TikTok kind of taking over?
It's faded a little bit. I think we can blame that on COVID. I mean, I haven't had a decent meetup in like 2 years.
That's true, yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, because we met at Bok Tower.
Yeah.
Bok Tower, yeah.
Yeah, we met at the Bok
That's
Tower.
right, yeah, that's kind of where I met everyone that's been on this podcast.
Right.
But, yeah, because that was the last meetup I really went to.
Was that when it was all starting? Because that was like in March.
It was March, but it was the year prior.
Prior? Okay.
Right? No? Because we met Nora at Bach.
We did.
And then I had got her on a podcast shortly after.
Yes.
And then COVID took over.
Yes.
So yeah, you're right.
Somewhere in there.
Yes. So yeah, our last meetup was kind of pre-COVID, and now I don't even hear anything from Cleargram.
No. I've ran into Al out and about, and then of course I interact with the rest of the gang.
Yeah.
But outside of Instagram, I haven't seen anybody in a little bit.
Gotta love those beautiful nature sounds of lawnmowers.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, so Instagram community is still there, it's just less.
Yeah.
Have you tried to jump over to TikTok? I know you do Reels, but
no,
I don't know if you...
No, I downloaded the app for a hot second, and then I just lost interest.
You didn't get sucked in like all the rest of us?
I refused to.
Wow. I don't know how you did it.
I'm more photography based, so I don't know if photography is really...
There's photography tutorials, but it does get, like, a lot of people are teaching the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, here's your exposure triangle. Like, how many people are going to teach the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to go more towards visual effects on my sort of thing. That just takes more time, so it's not something I can do real fast. But,
Right.
Transition. With the drone shots, I didn't realize it was your photo at first. I was just like, how did someone get a camera up there on top of the Sykes building looking down?
Oh, gosh.
And I was like, that was so cool. And then going back through your feed recently, I was like, oh, that was Kevin's photo. Like, that photo was always stuck in my mind just because we used to do parkour downtown Tampa a lot.
Nice.
So that was like a big, staple in the background of our videos.
Yeah.
So it just like resonated with me, this like different perspective of this building I've seen for 20 years. There's no question behind that.
No, just a cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool photo.
That was a different photo. I mean, it was right when things were kind of transitioning in the drone world, where you actually needed to ask permission to fly, and
oh, okay.
I was kind of questioning whether or not it should even be there, but that was one of the first times it actually reached out to the air traffic control tower at TIA.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you have your license? What's the drone license?
Well, I got the certification, but I don't have the part. What is it? The Part 101.
I think so. Yeah.
Part 105. I don't have that. I never, because I haven't done really anything professional since they required it.
Oh, okay. Because you did, so on the same day, did you do the bridge shot where
Oh,
is it the train bridge? Like it was up and you still had the same cool looking down
no,
perspective.
that was a different day.
Because we
That
used
was
to
early on.
climb up that bridge.
Did you really?
Yeah. I didn't get as high, but my other friends went out on their own, did a video where they climbed up it, and I was like,
I saw
don't know
somebody
if I
had
wanna go that high up
somebody had a photo of a night shot, and they were up there, and they had their camera
Like-
behind them and looking down,
oh yeah.
and I thought that was cool. But
That was a big location.
yeah,
back
I wasn't
then,
about to
yeah.
do that. The drone worked.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
The
Yeah.
drone was sufficient.
For as adventurous as you are, figured you'd just free solo up there. Kidding. So, the COVID affected a lot of people with photography.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it almost benefited you because all these parks would be more clear, I think. Right? Like, did COVID benefit you for like photography-wise, not work-related, but with having, or did it make it worse with like more people going to parks because they had nothing to do?
Yeah, it was a yes and no.
And for the viewers, keep in mind this is Florida, so we never officially went into lockdown.
Yeah, we were never closed. We were open. So all the major parks, everything that everybody knows about, like this place,
Yeah.
would be flooded on a weekend during COVID because everybody would just flock here. It's an easy spot. Everybody knows it. Everything's paved. Great trails, boardwalks. So going to those spots was kind of tough for me because I was always fighting everybody. If you wanted to go to Rainbow Springs, you'd have to wait in line for 2 hours in the morning in the road.
Oh wow.
But you'd have to get there before sunrise so you can get a spot in line. And then they're closing the gate once they're full. And then they're not opening for the rest of the day. So it turned into a whole thing with all the well-known stuff.
Yeah, like main state, like park like this is just
Yeah.
a state park. So.
Yeah. But at the same time, that kind of forced me to really seek out some spots that maybe people didn't know or were hard to get to or where I wouldn't interact with people as much. And I mean, I was successful in it. I found quite a few little creeks and nooks and river spots that I maybe interact with maybe 2 or 3 people all day. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
everybody had bought every kayak within a 100-mile radius of where I was
Yeah.
at. But
Every bikes were the same way.
bikes,
But
kayaks.
building that mountain bike,
Yeah.
I had to buy whatever parts I could.
Yeah.
Everything was sold out.
I mean, everywhere you went, there were people because nobody had anything to do but to go outside.
Yeah,
So-
that's true. Yeah, because I used to run at Vinoy North Shore
Yeah,
in St. Pete.
yeah,
Because it got so packed, I was like, this is horrible. I'm gonna run in the neighborhood around me, and it was quieter.
yeah.
Just the locals there.
Like the Weeki Wachee River was always a favorite, but during COVID, there was just no way to get there. I mean, the parking lot was full before sunrise. The cars were always waiting in line. Couldn't
Yeah.
get into the state park. The only time I could go would be after work at like 5 o'clock, and then I had to do like an evening night paddle. It was crazy.
That's insane. All right, so I guess my assumption of that was wrong. I guess it made it worse actually. But I'm not sure at the time you took the photos, but you actually found waterfalls in Florida, as I checked this camera. Yeah, so we have waterfalls in Florida.
Got a handful.
Is that? I know there's like cool not cave, but the canyon system in Ocala
Hmm.
with the zip lines. That was pretty cool. I've never seen waterfalls in Florida. Are you allowed to disclose where those are?
I mean, everybody knows where they're at now.
Okay.
A couple of them are man-made, but they're naturally fed. So, like Rainbow Springs State Park, they've got a set. But the two that I'll say that are natural, up in Mariana, up in at Falling Water State Park, that's pretty cool. It's slightly man-made because there's a lake, a little reservoir, and it has an overflow, and the lake does drain down this little creek, but it ended up going into a sinkhole, and it eroded the limestone 73 feet down, and it's just this perfect shaft, and then just immediately disappears into the aquifer. So it is technically a natural waterfall. And then the other one is up in Lake City.
We were blocked by the wind.
We were. And now it's
Um,
hurricaning.
It's fine. Well, We got like 5 more minutes, and then we can end it. But well, that's cool. So you also took some pictures of lightning.
Yeah, yeah.
Was that intentional? Like, did you go out storm chasing, or
Yeah.
it just happened?
So, I mean, I try not to.
The
I try
storm
not to
chase-
shy away from like any specific type of photography.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd give lightning a try. It was summer. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, each season's got its own opportune thing to shoot. You know, like the birds are great in the winter. Astro's really good in the winter because the skies are less humid. During the spring, you get an influx of birds coming north, and the wildlife's even stirring a little bit. But then summer, I figured summer storms, they're out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to shoot during the day when you got the blaring sunlight overhead, so at least when a storm pops up, you can chase it. But gave it a shot. It was fun. I mean,
pictures came out good.
it's frustrating because you have to get far enough ahead of the storm to be able to shoot it, so you're not trapped in it. And then the way these storms pop up and disappear in Florida, they're minutes.
It could disappear as you see it
Yeah.
coming.
So I mean, there were so many times where I chased it and got ahead of it, and then it just fell apart. So I got lucky that day though, because it was kind of going out towards over the Gulf, and the sun was going down, and it was still active, and stayed active all the way through the evening.
That's cool. It looks like fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow Paul. I had him on a few podcasts ago, and he literally will see the radar and be like, "I'm going into the storm."
That's like Damon Powers. You know, I've been following him for a while, and that's how he is down there. Which he's in an opportune area because you have influence of the Lake Okeechobee, and you have the influence of the Gulf. So like, there's constantly storms popping up and moving, and of course with the Everglades, or even the area surrounding the Everglades, you got a lot of low flat land, so you can have high visibility for miles. So I'm always jealous. He's always got some great shots from down there.
I'll have to check him out.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
recognize the name. But so as an veteran adventure photographer, I'll call you. What advice would you give to someone like wanting to go out and do adventure photography, whether that be landscapes or caves or underwater?
Just do it. It's easy. Just do it.
Okay. Do you have
You
a
know?
non-copyrighted?
Yeah, no, just get out there and make it happen. You don't need the greatest equipment. You don't need the
They could even go out with their cell phone right now.
yeah. I mean,
Any phone.
cameras are always within reach,
Yeah.
and with Florida, I mean, you're never too far from something. I mean, what are we, 10 minutes out of downtown Tampa, and you got this spot.
Yeah.
You know, preserved the whole ecosystem over here. You know, just get out and enjoy it.
Get out and enjoy it. Yeah, that's true. That's what brought me out here today. I've been sitting on the couch for too damn long. So it's nice to be out. And with that, I think we should actually go explore around. You said there's some cool bridge over here.
There's some bridge. There's some river rapids. You know, it's one of the few spots in the state that actually has river rapids.
Oh wow. All right. Well, I think
Yeah.
the sun's kind of going that way, so we might get some good pictures.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the podcast.
Appreciate it.
You can check him out at Kevin Giese. I'll put that in the description. Linked on the screen too. I'll link that in the description. His name's up here. You don't have a website, do you? I didn't see it.
No.
Okay. So
Don't.
just Instagram.
Just Instagram.
Oh yeah. Check out all his photos. Everything Florida you want. I don't want to say message him.
Flood the DMs.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for coming out. Again, we're going to go explore. That might turn into a vlog, so be sure to subscribe up
Yes,
there.
yes,
If you
yes.
are not, if you're listening, it's Red Focus Entertainment on YouTube. Linked in the description. Thanks for coming out. Cameras already there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next podcast.